All right, let's get started. We have a tornado warning pass along to all those in the Cumberland County area. Just wanted to verify and double check as I'm looking and checking as many boxes as I can and get this on as many pages as I can, because of course I do service a Facebook page group in Crossville. Very important that you get into a safe space. We have a tornado warning that lasts until 6 o'clock Central Time in Cumberland County. That would include Crossville proper. In fact, this tornado warning is in effect until 6 p.m. Central. It's in northwestern Cumberland County. Our friends at the National Weather Service, and I'm talking specifically in Nashville, because they govern this area. This runs until 6 p.m. But that little hook echo that might be trying to form here would be located. A tornado flying debris, very dangerous to those caught without shelter. If you're in a mobile home, it will likely be damaged or totally destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and siding will occur. The tree damage is very likely in locations impacted will be Crossville, Fairfield Glade, Crab Orchard, Pleasant Hill, Lake Tansy, Cumberland Mountain State Park, and State Springs. These are things we need to watch very closely. And for drivers that might be included in this on Interstate 40, that would be between mile markers 311 and 329. I'm going to zoom in a little bit tighter, but we've got this little clearly a very potent storm that's going on in the Crossville area. What's most concerning right now is for those that might be outside that might not know that this is taking place. This is now, again, 6:48 Eastern Time, now 6:49 Eastern Time, but in Central Time, this, again, is 5:49. So think about it, it's the afternoon drive home in Crossville, potential tornado that's going to be causing some very serious damage. Very important that you get into an interior room. If you have a basement, that would be preferred. But I'm looking at some of the comments that might be coming in, and please, I am live streaming on both YouTube as well as what we're seeing on Facebook. So if you've got a comment, maybe an observation to share if you're in the Cumberland area, Cumberland County area, I'd very much appreciate your thoughts and express that so our viewers will know, or might be watching, what they're going to be working against. But this is the storm that we're watching. Last check from the Weather Service, they said this storm is moving east at 35 miles per hour. What I'd like to check very quickly here is the velocity and see what type of pattern that we're seeing here. And again, the winds are going to be a big story. They're over 49, 66. So if there's rotation here, and there is believed to be, there's going to be flying debris. So this is what's affecting the Crossville area at the here and now. So it's very important that you take shelter. Wait for this storm to pass. There's an 81 mile an hour gust potentially. So from 49, 66, 81, it doesn't have to be a tornado to cause damage with these types of winds potentially, and it's so utterly important to heed the warning that the National Weather Service in Nashville has put out. Again, this came out at 5:34 Central, that's 6:34, and it's right now 6:50 Eastern. Of course, doing the math, it's an hour behind the Knoxville area, but it does include Bowling, it does include Foxfire, Homestead, and Crossville Estates. These are the hot spots that Linger Lake that might be affected potentially from this tornado. It's very important that you seek shelter. I'm looking at some comments that are coming in. I'm going to come back here on camera as we look at this very closely. But if you have a thought, something to share, I'd love to hear what you've got on tap. Darcy says, wow, those are crazy looking cells. Thanks for going live. Stay safe out there. What about Athens? What about Athens? Let's check in. Again, we're trying to focus on where there's a serious storm right now. I know we have a severe thunderstorm warning in Fentress County, but my biggest concern, priority one right now, is the storm that's in Cumberland County. And you can see there's a flashing red polygon that's flashing over Cumberland County. And those winds, rotating or not, will do some serious damage with flying debris. So it could very well be affecting downtown Crossville here if it's not already. Very important to get into a safe spot. Let me go back to the radar. Again, we've been looking at the velocity. We're going to go back to the radar and just take off. You can almost see or detect what over the last few minutes. We're going to take a look over the last 15 minutes because it really hasn't moved that fast very far. But you can see it's just now coming into town, sliding on 70 and heading eastbound. So it's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. The bigger question is where's it going to be in a few minutes from now? If they're estimating this is moving at 35 miles per hour, we're going to pull a track here. And we'll just do a little track in here like so. And if it's moving 35 miles per hour, it's probably going to be off my screen here. Keep going outside. So if we're even at the right speed, these are some of the towns. There's 35. So these are the new towns. We'll put this on the left side. Tornado warning in effect till 6. We've got Greenbrier Village. Definitely need to be in your safe spot. Dayton Spur. Some of these are communities. Some of them are neighborhoods. Rolling Hills, 555 Central. Cherry Branch, 558. Please be in your safe space while this passes. But again, you're under a tornado warning. This does appear like it's moving north of Lake Tansey. I understand Lake Tansey is still under the warning, but the worst of it looks like it's headed right through the city of Crossville. Fairview, 6 o'clock straight up Central Time. Should be over Hidden Hollow Estates at 6:01. That's again Central Time. That's about 9 minutes from now. Chestnut Hill, 6:02. Daddy's Creek, 6:03. Like I said, these are very specific towns and communities and neighborhoods, even subdivisions listed on my screen here, but this would include Lake Pomeroy, 6:07, and Windsor Bluff at 6:07. Now, if I expand the view just a little bit, you can see that while we have a severe thunderstorm warning, there should be a tornado warning for Crossville, we have a severe thunderstorm watch for many areas around Knoxville, but that extends and goes till 8 p.m. So these storms that are now moving through the plateau are headed in the direction to the east. So that's why you have a severe thunderstorm watch in Knox County till 8 p.m. That's another hour and 7 minutes. It's really going to depend on what happens with these storms. But clearly, by far and away, we have other issues to the west of Knoxville. Clearly, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Morgan County, for Fentress County. Fentress, we've got some other towns here like Goad, 6 o'clock, Zenith, 6:01, Speck, 7:10. And I mentioned maybe just far northwestern sections of Anderson County are under severe thunderstorm warning till 7:45. So this is just the playing field if you're just joining us. If you're wondering what about my town, that's why the app, the Captain Accurate Weather app, can be very helpful for you. So you can surmise in the next 2 hours. It does a very nice job of giving you the radar, future radar in the next 2 hours. I'm looking at a storm that's strong near Decatur. That's not severe, but that's also producing some damaging wind potentially around Forest Grove, Walnut Grove, and Tranquility, which I don't think you'll get too much tranquility at 7:19 when that storm comes to town. That's what we're watching, and you can see this is moving east at 20 miles per hour. So focal point again is the tornado warning. It's really the main event, and this is again moving through Crossville at this hour. So please be extra careful, just highlighting the fact that while Lake Tansey and Pomona are under the tornado warning, it's the downtown area of Crossville that might very well be getting hammered right now with some winds. Crazy hail. We can look at the hail here in a moment, but I just wanted to show you the reflectivity here and also the winds that we just looked at here moments ago. Just clearly, what's probably going to be very stark is the differences in winds. Like in Crossville, as we look at the winds, and I turn this off here, I want to just do a quick check of the winds that are coming into the city. Around Main Street, maybe 45, some might be 50. But if they're rotating, that's the biggest concern. And I just think it's most important that you find your safe space. If you have a safe space, that's again one of the things that you kind of want to rehearse ahead of time. Winds ahead of it toward Bowling might not be as strong, but clearly the winds are a bigger factor as they're coming into town at this particular moment. I want to check and look at some of the other opportunities here. We got weak rotation. That's maybe a good sign there. But clearly over the last few minutes, and we could do let's say 30 minutes now, see if we can get, there's maybe a hint of more rotation. Maybe you could see it coming from Taylor's Chapel, that's coming in from the west toward Pleasant Hill. And this storm may be weakening. We will not have that final confirmation until we reach the end of the warned area. Again, that's until 6 o'clock Central, and that would be about 4 more minutes on this particular warned area. So just be mindful of that. This will pass, but right now it is the main game in town. And this is again a tornado warning for Cumberland County, a severe thunderstorm watch for Knox County till 8 p.m. This is the storm that's now approaching Fairfield Glade. Very strong, and we did mention that there's probably some hail associated with this. Maybe not a whole lot here. Looks like the pink areas are outside of the box generally. But if we look at some of the other threats that are coming in, there's maybe some hail in here as well, maybe about the size of a half an inch hail might be now occurring now in the Fairfield Glade area from the tornado warning. If you've got a comment, let me know. I'm just looking at this on the fly, as many of you are, and again, I'm most concerned for the warned area between Crossville, Fairfield Glade. It looks like the worst is already past Crossville. but we'll keep an eye on the Weather Service. They've got 3 more minutes to this warning at this time. Shauna Thompson says, thank you, David. Wanda Poe says it's drizzling in Newport. Hope all stays safe. And I mentioned Darcy Soar saying these crazy-looking cells. Thanks for going live. My pleasure. Again, just wanted to get the information out there. We mentioned last night that last night would be the preamble, the dress rehearsal for today. Again, these don't happen everywhere, but if you get one tornado or two, is it worth noting? Yes, it's worth noting. Doesn't mean it's going to stay that strong when it gets eastward, but we have a severe thunderstorm warning affecting Dearmont. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning affecting Wartburg, Oakdale, and areas to the north. I'm looking towards Sunbright. These severe thunderstorm warnings last until, we'll put that on the left side, they last until 7:45. So we've got the warned area for Crossville, Fairfield, Glade. Tornado warning till 6. That's 2 more minutes. And we'll see what they do. If they extend this, again, there would be a passing of the torch, because once you leave Cumberland County and head eastward, then you're moving from the Nashville office of the National Weather Service, and it transitions into the Morristown Weather Office for the National Weather Service. So I know that they're always in communication with each other. That's just how they roll. But if they feel that this is necessary to extend, it could further move east. But right now, Sunbright, Wartburg, Oneida are currently under severe thunderstorm warnings for gusts of up to 60. So those areas need to watch for 60-mile-an-hour gusts. We've already saw some potential 81-mile-an-hour gusts there in the Crossville area in Cumberland County. Checking YouTube. If there's any comments on YouTube, let me know. Popping over here and checking that as well. Coming back on camera, just checking in. So we've got this storm here, another minute, 1 minute from here, and then this will likely expire for this immediate area. The question is, are they going to continue to extend it? That may be a bigger issue. So like this could go out here and maybe extend into the other part of the county. We'll see if they play that through. But this storm is moving pretty quickly. As we take this back full screen, you can see the cell has well left Crossville and is now leaving almost the county here, or trying to leave the county, because Fairfield Glade, I would say, is in the heart of this storm right now, between just south of Alpine Acres, Fairfield Glade, and now moving toward Atkins Mill. It would be likely heading in the direction of Howard Mill here in the next few minutes. So please make note, this storm is moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. I'm just checking to see if there's any barren projected vectors, and you can see one off to the south of Rockwood. We've got some strong storms coming into the Lake Harbor area at 7:16, Chapman Grove at 7:20, Circle M at 7:25, Midway at 7:26. So these storms that are out ahead of this system are also producing some very heavy rain, no doubt. And I know there was an earlier question about Athens, maybe back toward the Cleveland area. We've got some stronger storms heading in that same direction, but not reaching the same limits. A lot of water has fallen in these areas. They've had flood advisories in parts of Blount County, Monroe County, and McMinn County. That would include Athens until 7:30, so for some locally heavy rain that's already transpired. So we've got 7 o'clock straight up. Good news here. The National Weather Service has allowed the tornado warning to expire. I do not see a new one issued. In fact, Fentress County is now out of the mix. They're still technically under the watch till 7. That's another hour from now. But Cookeville would appear that you are now in the clear. Cookeville, Sparta, I'm looking to the west of these areas. They seem to be much improved. Cookeville, Sparta, not under a watch, not under a warning at 7:01 Eastern Time, 6:01 Central Time. Those are the updates here. But as we look at the most recent and the still lasting severe thunderstorm warning, that lasts till 7:45 for our friends in Wartburg and Morgan County. And we go back to the home view. Let's go back here. You can see that we still have a severe thunderstorm watch for Knox County till 8. And there's also Anderson County till 8. There's much of Campbell County till 8 for a watch, which means conditions are favorable. I'm interested to see what will happen with some of these storms as they make it into the I-75 corridor, because a lot of times what we saw yesterday is a lot of these weakened. And it was coincidental with the setting sun. The sun was at a lower angle. Sun sets tonight at 8:41. So if you're playing the home game version, we got another hour and 30 minutes or so, hour and 40 minutes before the sun goes down. How far will these storms make it? Can they make it to La Follette and Clinton? One best way to check that, and the answer to see that, would be to take a look at the future radar. the next 2 hours. One of the things that you can access on the free Captain Accurate Weather app is this very tool. So what we're going to do is look at the future radar and project where it's going to be in the next 2 hours. I'm going to take off the warning so it declutters the map, and we're going to go back to the home view and just play this through. So if this is where we are now, look where this goes. Within the hour, by 8 o'clock, it's moving through Knoxville. It should be in Knoxville proper before 9 p.m. So will it be as strong? Will they need to extend, possibly, the severe thunderstorm watch? Because it's slated to expire at 8. Could they make it go to 9? Sure, that's a possibility. You'll notice that the radar, future radar algorithm, still keeps it very red as it goes through Loudon, goes through Clinton. So this should give you some intel. While the timing might be off a few minutes, it does give a pretty good idea of where these cells are going to be in 2 hours from now. Again, this isn't just 60 minutes. This is 120 minutes into the future, and it means it's going to affect Hardin Valley soon. It's going to affect Farragut soon. It's going to affect Maryville before 9 o'clock. Not hard to figure that out. It's going to move across I-75 within the next 2 hours. That means it's headed toward Blaine and may eventually work its way to Morristown before 9:30. So this is the trend, the track that we're seeing on the future radar that's very important so that you're prepared. I mean, I can draw a track all day, but there's naturally the inclination, well, what about my town? What about my town? What about my town? My town. This gives you a good idea. You can zoom in on the app to your town and do the 2-hour radar so that you can get a better sense of the timing, because you might have, with kids out of school now, kids that they hanging out by the pool. The lightning alerts are very, very important. It can keep you, give you an extra element of safety in that regard, that you could get lightning alerts when storms are within 2 hours of your, within 15 miles of your location. Lightning alerts come when they are striking within 15 miles of your location. My mind was thinking about the 2 hours here. But let me go back to the radar, because I know it's not raining hard in Hardin Valley right now. It's not even raining in Farragut. But you just said it would be. Yeah, it will, because we just looked at the future radar, right? I wanted to give you the intel. This line clearly is moving, and it's moving at the last 2 hours. Look how far it's passed, right? I'll put the warnings back on. You can see how that little red box in the Crossville area represented the tornado warning, but it didn't last or stay there very long. It's now moving east of Crossville, now stretching toward Wartburg, and it's now a severe thunderstorm warning for Wartburg and Morgan County. I hope this helps, because this is, again, just giving you some intel that we're not done with the rain in the Knoxville area. Within the next 2 hours, I'd say between 8:30 and 9, it's going to be knocking on the door in downtown Knoxville and maybe even beyond. Again, the timing could be off, but I think it's got a pretty good handle of the intensity of the cells that are moving to the east. Couple questions. Bobby Blair says, great news. Cray Slavin says, howdy, Captain. Cray, I know you being in Cookeville, I give you the all clear for this point, because your severe thunderstorm watch has expired for Cookeville. But glad to see you here, Cray. Kelly says, are we in the clear? It would definitely appear, Kelly, in Crossville, that things have improved. Yes, but you're not quite. The decision to remove you from the severe thunderstorm watch has not come down as of yet. You can see they have pulled it for Sparta. They've pulled it for Cookeville. But Crossville is still technically under a severe thunderstorm watch until 7 p.m. Do we have a lot of cells developing to the west of Crossville? Fair question. Let me go back to the national radar. There doesn't appear to be much here, so it may be just a function of time. They may just let this thing expire in Crossville, Cumberland County, at the 7 p.m. time frame. Again, that's, less than an hour from now, but there does not appear to be much more coming. So certainly you're out of the thick of it as far as the tornadic concerns. That's pretty much done for Crossville. I don't expect that to come back. Another look, 7:06 Eastern Time. The storms have now crossed the timeline, right? Once you leave Cumberland County, you're going to Harriman. You're in Eastern Time Zone. Welcome to EDT, my friend. And that's what we have now, a 7:45 expiration for Morgan County, for Scott County, our friends in Scott County. This includes Oneida, till 7:45. And it did expire for Fentress County. They're still under the watch. I think those two will eventually ride out. There's still some rain in Fentress County, so maybe they're just giving it its due. They'll let it play out. But there is a flood advisory for Jamestown. Let's talk about rainfall, right? This is one of the things we looked at yesterday, and it was like, man, I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't know it rained that hard. Look at the last 6 hours, right? This is why there's a flood advisory. There's like one area just north of Madisonville that's had quite a bit of rain in the last 6 hours, and that would be the amount of 2.5 inches. 2.6. Just west of Maryville, maybe a ½ inch, but there's some areas west of Madisonville, an inch and a half. Jamestown, about an inch and a half, Doppler estimated. Some areas west of Fentress County, 2.3. Sparta and Crossville may have closed in at an inch and a third just in the last 6 hours, so the rain has been torrential. Again, 3 inches would represent almost a month's worth, and some areas have had 2.5 in parts of Monroe County and Blount County, right between Blount and Sevier County, about an inch and a half estimated here. So the rainfall been heavy. Didn't see a whole lot in terms of the severity as far as hail, but again, winds were the bigger story. And if we were to check real quickly the winds that are going on in this storm, which we really haven't looked at as closely, there are some very nasty winds right now that's moving through the heart of Morgan County. If you need some evidence, here it is. Look at these wind speeds: 63 miles an hour, 45. That's just around Sunbright right now. So Sunbright, just west of Elgin, 54. Doesn't mean it's reaching the ground, but that's what the radar is suggesting these winds are. So that's why you're under a severe thunderstorm warning now, rolling through 27. If you're on Interstate 27 or Route 27 around Sunbright, please take shelter, get away from windows. It's not affecting Lone Mountain quite the same way, but it's headed in the direction of Lone Mountain, and that's what I want to look at here real quickly, is take a look at the track. The latest update from our friends at the National Weather Service in Morristown for this severe thunderstorm warning that runs until 7:45 has Morgan County, West Central Anderson, West Central Campbell, and Scott County till 7:45, and at 6:38, which was about 20 minutes or more ago, this was extending from basically southwest of Jamestown, moving northeast at 20. So if we do a little track here, I'm going to go back to the radar because it'll give us a better sense of where things are. This storm is moving to the east at northeast. They're calling this northeast at 20 miles an hour. So we're just going to do a little track here. We'll do a little track coming in this thing here roughly. So if it's kind of moving in this direction at 20, and that would put us at the speed and trajectory, it would be in the Petros area at 7:15, Jeffers at 7:16, Norma at 7:18, and State Line at 7:20. And if we looked at simply these towns, these would be the next towns on deck for those winds that we just highlighted. They could be 50, they could be 60, they could be higher than 60, but they are moving through Sunbright at this particular hour. And they might be headed toward Montgomery at 7:22 and Pleasant Grove at 7:22. Jeannie Blackburn says, we are out of it. Very good to hear that. Glad to know that that's the case. Sheena Brown says, is it going to be bad in Knoxville? Well, we have a severe thunderstorm watch till 8 p.m., Sheena. And we did check out, and she says, I hear thunder, and my autistic daughter is freaking out already. Well, it doesn't matter who's in the path. It just, I mean, it is what it is. Whether it's cats, dogs, people, we want people to be safe. I know a lot of kids are hanging out by the neighborhood pool that might have just opened up yesterday. And if that's the case, please make sure that they're aware that storms are coming toward the Knoxville area. If you need more evidence of that, we have already looked at the trajectory for these storms over the next 2 hours. It will likely be on the doorstep of maybe Farragut and Hardin Valley before 8:30. It may not even take that long because this speed is moving. Even if it says this is 20 miles an hour, some of these other storms might be moving a tad faster. Let me see if, yep, got a track here. How fast is this one? This one's moving 25. This one's got the width of 5.5 miles. It has a very low Barron tornado index at the bottom, 2.3. So there's probably not much in the way of rotation here, but this is a storm that's now approaching Nyota and leaving the Athens area. This is not a severe storm, although it says it could potentially be, but this is a storm that the Barron algorithm say this has got a 50% chance of hail, or maybe 100% of hail, 50% chance it's the size of a George Washington quarter. And if we do a little check here, take a look at the hail thread here, see if we have, yeah, there's a little hail showing up. Let me go ahead and turn this off so they did clutter the map. And if we take off these towns, there's some hail that's just north of Athens that would suggest that this was and has been affecting some areas of McMinn County for hail. I would turn this off here and just do a little check. Right around the Alta Vista, that's an inch and a half potentially, and that would be on the size of a George Washington quarter, maybe approaching ping pong ball size. But again, I would trust a weather spotter with ground truth than just the fact that the radar suggests there could be 1.5-inch hail around Alta Vista. That would be along Interstate 75. Keep in mind, any drivers on I-75 moving through that area may be caught off guard that some of these storms are either strong or they're severe, which is why we repeatedly say strong to severe storms possible today. And that's what we've had. We've had some rain starting this morning, then we had another round, and this is probably the final round for tonight. We'll do it again very, very early tomorrow. It's going to come in stages. But by far and away, we have these warnings, specifically the aerial flood advisory from Maryville to Madisonville, severe thunderstorm warning till 7:45 Morgan County, till 7:45, and Oneida until 7:45. That's another half hour plus from now. And if it maintains its composure, keep in mind the sun's going at a lower angle by each minute, with the sun setting tonight at 8:41. Brian says rain now ending and skies clearing. Well, that's good. Good news there. Cray says he's had quite a few altocumulus clouds here in Cookeville, but sun is out. That's a benefit. That's a bonus. And if you're on YouTube, let me know, because I want to check into the comments. I know that some of the comments that might be coming in from you might parrot what you're experiencing. Maybe you've got the sun that's popped out where you are. If you're in Knox County, take note that we will be seeing some more storms coming in here in time. If you're on YouTube, let me know. I'll pop over here and give you a shout out. But as far as the situation, just do my telestrator here. Here's Knoxville, right in the heart of Knox County. So we still have maybe another half hour to an hour before it's really on the north edge, western edge. We're talking Farragut, we're talking Hardin Valley, Solway, Oak Ridge we'll need to be watching too, because the storms that are south of Harriman all seemingly are moving in this direction. And that's what we want to focus in on. Will this be severe, or will it just be strong? And when I say strong, it still could pack gusts of 35, 45, even 55 miles per hour. Would not classify as a severe storm, but it'll do some damage. And lo and behold, it looks like we got a brand new one that includes Athens and Madisonville. That's a severe thunderstorm warning, now a newly issued one. You can see here this goes until 8 o'clock. So have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. If you're just joining us, we're going to track this one. Let me get the latest update from our friends at the Weather Service. It's interesting too, because this could evolve into the Knox County area, and the question is it going to be bad? It could be bad, but we're going to watch it because it could be on the move. It could change. But the latest update from the Weather Service has a severe thunderstorm warning, a new one for southern Loudoun, northeastern McMinn, and northwestern Monroe County until 8 o'clock. So they said at 7:13, precisely 1 minute ago, the severe thunderstorm was located near Athens and moving east at 30 miles per hour. So let's zoom in a little bit tighter, since this area has not been focused on yet. It does include Von Orr, and it includes Madisonville and Nyota. Nyota is getting hammered pretty hard now from those winds, and potentially, let's say, ping pong ball or smaller hail might be now moving through Nyota and Route 2. So please be mindful. But this is a storm that's moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So I'm going to do a trek here. We'll do our little track right in here. We'll follow the conventional box or polygon that has been drawn out for us, and we'll go toward 30 miles an hour. So this is in the direction of Tallahassee, possibly in the direction of Happy Valley if it carries on through the box. But the new towns that may want to be looking out for this would be Reagan at 7:17. That's 2 minutes from now. Bell Spring, 7:19. You can see the towns on the right side of the screen. I got Christiansburg, 7:23. Sequoia Estates, 7:29. We got a severe thunderstorm that has winds potentially of 60 miles an hour, and they're very clear in their issuance of this warning that quarter-size hail is falling from that storm just around Nyota. And if it moves toward Reagan, you too could have quarter-size hail. It's not going to discriminate who gets it. You get some hail, you get some hail. Just be mindful, hail could be part of it, but you could also get some winds that could take out power. So a 60-mile-an-hour gust can affect trees. Those trees can knock out power, and suddenly you have no electricity going into a Thursday evening when it's still quite humid. Not anything anybody would wish on anybody. But these towns included in this warning include Athens and Sweetwater. It includes Englewood, Von Orr, Madisonville, Nyota, obviously Nyota, Fort Loudoun State Park, McGee-Carson Peninsula, and Clearwater. And this includes the Interstate 75 in Tennessee between mile markers 49 and 57. So anyone driving in these areas, please take note. If you're in this area, let me know. Darcy says it's here at Midway, community south of Kingston. Well, thank you, Darcy. You might want to capture some video, time lapse. I suggested that to Daniel last night. You might have the best video to share if you time-lapse it every minute, get a snapshot, and have a video once it comes into town. Christine Davis says we got a severe thunderstorm warning in McMinn. Absolutely do. And she noted that 2 minutes ago. So this came down officially at 7:13. Currently it is now 7:17. We're no longer in central time zone at the moment. We did focus and did jump on with the live stream for Crossville because my concern for them was their safety. But anyone in Crossville, I can tell you that the worst is over for you. I know technically Crossville still has a severe thunderstorm watch, but that's expected to expire or maybe expire early. But right now it goes till 7 o'clock Central, so another less than 45 minutes left. But there does not appear to be any new storms closing in on Cumberland County. I'm sure there's going to be some damage, no doubt. In fact, some of these local storm reports that come in pretty soon. Let me see if I can get any that show up here. Yeah, we got a few. When I say local storm reports, of course, in weather, we love our acronyms. You don't have to look further than the word NOAA. That's National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. It's easier to just say NOAA. And we easily say LSRs, which stands for Local Storm Reports. Quite a few, I should say. Scott County. Looks like 3 miles east-southeast of Huntsville, there have been several trees down. So someone, a weather spotter presumably, a train spotter, has noted at 7:57 Eastern Time. Now that was yesterday. My mistake. That was from yesterday's report, because I do have things that might be a little bit older. But that gives you an idea that this is the second day in a row that Scott County has been hammered by more storms. Looks like this one was also from yesterday, a previous correction of trees down. Let me see if I get a new one that was today's date. Nope. Sunbright had trees down, small hail from yesterday. That's the 22nd. Yeah, these are old local storm reports, so it may take a little while to get the new ones. A lot of these are actually old from yesterday with some hail reports. This one has a new report from Putnam County. They had hail the size of 0.3, so probably pea-size hail just north of Cookeville today. So I'll take that off, but that gives you an idea. If you look around the country, it would also give you an idea where or might there have been some stronger storms in parts of the country. There's a lot of tornado warnings going on right now in Texas. I see a couple of tornadoes that might have occurred here. Storm chaser video in, I guess it's Iron, Texas, or Iron County, Texas, near Arden. But back home, the key here is that we have 2 severe thunderstorm warning boxes. They cover about a half a dozen counties. We got McMinn, we've got Monroe. There's 2. Looks like we also have Roane County, I believe. Let me see, I have to hit 3. Yes, Southern Loudoun, Northeastern McMinn, and Northwestern Monroe until 8 o'clock. That's the warning that's on the screen here. And then to the north, we've got Oneida, and we've got in Scott County, Morgan County, and maybe just a sliver of Campbell. When I say sliver, I mean it's really just a sliver. West of Caryville, there's a warning just to the west of Beech Fork. This storm is affecting Huntsville. It's raining like cats and dogs in Lone Mountain. I can tell you that, and it's affecting Huntsville and Oneida at this time. So anyone that's in these areas, take note, winds could be approaching 60 miles an hour. Doesn't mean you're going to get a 60-mile-an-hour gust, but the potential is still there. You can see if we take this off, maybe declutter the map, and just do a quick check. We got winds that are 50 here, maybe about 53. So there's a lot of wind right now between Huntsville, Elgin, and Sunbright at the moment. Darcy's saying it's near Midway. She's got Christine there. And just checking in real quick with YouTube, anyone who's on here, let me know. Stephen Snyder, oh my goodness, sending me some stars, more than stars. Thank you, Stephen, you're very kind. Appreciate the support, because I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what was coming and what might be disrupting your evening plans. It is now 7:21. Just a footnote for my premium members. What's the next big thing I'll have for you after this live stream? I'm going to get that updated for you. We do that every night. Just to give folks an idea of what's going to happen in the weeks to come, because we do more than just 7 days on the Captain Accurate Premium side. By the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my sponsor. Can't do this without them. Marco's Pizza. If you're hungry for a snack, some comfort food while storms come to town or leave town, because they have certainly left Crossville. They've left Spring City, and they've left Cookeville, Sparta. You're in the, I would say totally in the clear, but you're certainly improved, as we'll be waiting for the latest update to come in. I don't expect storms really to affect Crossville now any longer, but we still have a severe thunderstorm for the next 20 minutes or so, 20-some minutes for Morgan and Scott County. If you're in the Madisonville area, I would be on guard for weather to deteriorate pretty quickly. We talked about Nyota and their severe thunderstorm warning till 8, but this is moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. We've already checked, believe we had some very convincing hail on this, and we'll go and see what, yep, we do. And this would suggest that hail around the Nyota area could be approaching an inch, inch and a half. Now, if you need evidence of what that looks like, the inch is about the size of a George Washington quarter, inch and a half would be a ping pong ball. But the expectation is that this is probably at least an inch. Either way, if you have a new car or a pre-owned car or a new used car, the last thing you want is hail damage, and that may be a byproduct of this storm. So just throwing that out there. We talked about the winds on this. Might be stronger in some parts. Looks like we've got, take this off here. Let's see here if I'm actually going to be able to, it's overlaid on top of the, our winds are overlaid with the aerial flood advisory, so I may not be able to query or check that as easily right at the moment, but there's probably at least 50-mile-an-hour winds south of Nyota and north of Inglewood heading to the east at this particular time. So this is the radar view now, and you can see it's been really hammering Nyota here. The purple areas would suggest a stronger reflectivity. Heavier rains are now leaving Athens, but there's another round coming through Riceville and might be working its way to Athens again. Let's take a look and see where this has been in the last 30 minutes. Yeah, you've got another storm coming into Athens here from the Riceville area. Stronger storm is now over Nyota, moving through Sweetwater, perhaps north of you especially, but I-75, drivers on I-75 I'm sure would be unsuspecting if they're listening to the radio, they're not listening to weather reports, or they're not looking at a weather app, which obviously they can't do if they're driving a vehicle, car or truck, but they're getting pretty strong storms now through I-75 between Riceville and Athens. Just a little heads up there, keeping an eye. Marsha Ramsey says, thank you. LBJ has a question. What about Harrogate, Tennessee? Let's check about Harrogate. Did we have done good checking here? And I'm also concerned about power outages, which we're going to look here at momentarily. But Harrogate, yeah, you're really not really in the crosshairs, right? Harrogate, we were talking, you got to go up toward Middlesboro. Harrogate, you're kind of out of the mix. And I'm looking at my little telestrator. Here's Harrogate, right? You're technically under a severe thunderstorm watch until 8. But when we did our little severe thunderstorm watch, our future radar, LB, we were able to see that this could be affecting Knoxville right into the 9 o'clock hour. So it's potentially, or it's possible, that these severe thunderstorm watches could be revised. They might extend it an hour. They might pull the plug. But I suspect they're going to keep this at least till 8. So I would be on guard, Harrogate and Middlesboro and Arthur, that you two could get on the act of what's affecting now. Oneida could be headed in your direction within the next couple of hours. In fact, let's do that. Before I get to that, though, I want to check the power outages. How many of you would be surprised to learn that there's a lot of power outages occurring? And the answer is no. A couple of spots really outside of our viewing area. I don't see a lot of power outages at this time. Looks like maybe one spot that's in Kentucky of 100 south of Bryson City. So we haven't had much power outages, at least reported. So that's good. Let's hope these storms are weakening. But we have a brand new brand new severe thunderstorm warning that includes now northern Knox County till 8:30. Now, if you're knowing or thinking what I'm thinking, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that lasts until 8:30. But the city of Knoxville, South Knoxville, has a severe thunderstorm watch that lasts until 8 o'clock. So something doesn't jive, right? How can you have a severe thunderstorm watch that goes till 8, but you have a severe thunderstorm warning that lasts till 8:30? Maybe they need to update it, and they will in due time. So as I mentioned from the future radar, this could be overhead Knoxville like 8:30, 9, approaching 9 o'clock. If you're in Corriton, might be in Kodak or Morristown before 9:30 or 10. So be fluid or flexible with your evening plans, because when you look at the lightning, there's quite a show going on here. There's over 2,000 lightning strikes just from this image. And if I go back to the home view, you can see that there's now 2,200 lightning strikes just on this image alone. And it's all working its way to the east. So just to recap, if you're just joining us, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Monroe County. We got one for Wartburg, Morgan County till 7:45. One goes till 8, one goes till 7:45. And the new one that includes northern Knox County till 8:30. So let's just dispense of the idea that the severe thunderstorm watch that ends at 8, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's why I said the Storm Prediction Center does coordinate or will be coordinating with the local office, so they might have to adjust the time. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for northern Knox till 8:30. Let me give you the latest track on that and see if we get some insight or intel from our friends at the Weather Service. So this would include Halls, Crossroads. This would include Corrigan. That severe thunderstorm warning includes several areas. And let me read that to you. And I'm just accessing this from the Captain Accurate Weather app, which is free. You can download it at the App Store, Google Play. It is very, very helpful to get the information in your fingertips. But it's East Central Morgan. This is the new box I'm talking about. The newly issued, but was issued at 7:23, which was 4 minutes ago. It includes East Central Morgan. The new one includes Western Claiborne County. It includes all of Anderson County, northeastern Knox County, Campbell County, eastern Scott, and Union County till 8:30. They say the severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending near Huntsville to 6 miles northwest of Oliver Springs, and they believe this storm is moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. So let's just do a little track. Let's assume the box is right on the mark. We go to 40 miles an hour, and I can see this would include eventually Blaine. I can see eventually it would include Tazewell. So let's just check in on some of these new towns. We'll zoom in. I probably can lose the lightning. The lightning maybe clutters the map. And these little white spots are not hailstones. These are just towns. And sometimes they're very helpful. Sometimes they're not only local, but hyper-local. They get really into this because they're like the neighborhoods. Like, that's where Farmer Brown's farm used to be. In this case, I've got Seaber Flats, 7:32. Jacksboro, I know where Jacksboro, that's going to be on your doorstep at 7:32. So a few minutes from now, Jacksboro will be home to a new severe thunderstorm warning. Please be guarded and away from windows. This is not, I repeat, not a tornado, but it does have the potential for 60-mile-an-hour winds and nickel-size hail. According to our friends at the Weather Service, nickel-size hail possible in Jacksboro here by 7:32. Beech Grove, 7:33. Ridgewood at 7:33. And Laurel Grove at 7:34. Minersville, 7:35. Should be over Caryville right now. So if you're in Caryville and you've got a report, I'd like to hear from you. Leave me a comment. Wanda Post says, anything near me tonight, that's bad. Well, if you're in Newport, yeah, by the time it gets to you, the sun should be down. It should probably weaken quite a bit. But it's like shuffling of the deck of cards. You just don't know, or maybe the Forrest Gump expression, you never know what kind of box of chocolates. You just don't know what kind of storm you're going to get on a night like tonight because it's humid and it's warm, and we're watching it very closely. Marsha Ramsey saying thank you. We've already answered L.B. Johnson's question about Harriet. Yes, you have to be on guard because you're under severe thunderstorm watch. And Darcy saying it had already affected Midway. So these are the towns. The new ones, again, run until 8:30. I would be remiss if it's Knoxville proper, not included. Carnes, not included. Farragut, not included. But look what's lingering back to the west of Farragut. We have a strong storm. May not have 60-mile-an-hour winds, but like I said, if it's got 35 or 45 or even 55 miles per hour, once this storm starts to move in, and if this storm is moving at the same rate that the other one was, this one's moving, say, at 40, this is going to be headed in the direction of Maryville, Knoxville. We'll take it out to 40. These towns would include Kodak, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge. These towns might be very well affected if it continues on its track to the east at 40 miles per hour. So just be mindful. You don't have to have a 60-mile-an-hour wind speed to cause damage. You can have downed trees with 45, maybe 50. 55 miles an hour winds could also do damage and take out power. These towns that you see highlighted next would be Bucktown 7:33, Sharp Estates at 7:34, and Maple Spring at 7:34. Don't want to leave out Maynardville. Maynardville is truly under the severe thunderstorm warning at this time. And we'll go ahead and take this off to declare. But we've got still a lot of weather still yet to come in the heart of the valley. It's now approaching Oak Ridge. And it really didn't take that long. When we did the 2-hour future radar, I think it showed a pretty distinct area. We have one batch here, and we got another batch up here. They kind of split a bit, right? They've got 2 pieces of energy, and then you make it 3 when you count Madisonville. I don't want to leave out Monroe County here. The Madisonville storm now is really intensified here. They're under the warning, and we got a brand new one down here toward Etowah, right? We got some issues here in parts of McMinn County till 8:15. That includes Tellico Plains. So Madisonville getting hammered with a severe thunderstorm warning. Monroe County, Tellico Plains till 8:15. You need a scorecard. I've got one for you. It's called the Captain Accurate Weather app. You can zoom into your town because I know, let's be honest, let's be real, I don't care about those other towns, I just care about my town. That's what the app is designed to do. So you can zoom in and empower you to get through these storms. The latest one that does affect Tellico Plains is moving, as it says here, it's moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. So let's do a track here real quick. We haven't really done that for this town, but I want to grab this little track. And you can see just north of Benton where this storm is. It's right around 411, but it's moving to the east at 30, and that would put it in the direction of Tellico Plains. And these towns right in here, roughly right in here. Let's pull this to the side. Put this on the left side, this on the right side, so you can see. Yeah, these would affect Hambright, 737. Balltown, 738. It would affect Etowah at 742. And Bullet Creek at 745. Holly Springs, 751. So when you're looking at these towns, you've got the potential for 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. So there's clearly a concern that hail is a factor here. We don't have to look all that far to see it. You can see, there's a hint, right? When I look at this particular here, there's a spot, maybe half-inch hail. Don't see a whole lot. There is that darker purple or brighter purple area, as I take the warnings off, just to see where the hail markers are. You got one that's between Nyota and Madisonville. That would be the size of a George Washington quarter. And looking at the bigger picture, go back here, there's some hail maybe into areas east of Harriman at this hour too. But again, if you have hail, let me know. If you've got video, share that in the comments section, or just a still picture. That would also be helpful so people know to take it seriously and that it's not just radar noise. I can tell you that there is a lot of thunder and lightning that's coming in too. But again, as that updates and throw in the warnings again, we have quite a bit of activity just in the last few minutes. Carolyn Reed asking about Hancock County. Beautiful Hancock County that includes Sneedville. Carolyn wants to know about Hancock County. You are technically under Hancock County, a thunderstorm watch till 8. But given the fact that this severe thunderstorm warning for northern Knox goes to 8:30, I think we can dispense of the time, Carolyn. Keep in mind this may go to 9, may go to 9:30. So this would be an excellent time as we look at our viewing area here. Let's go back to our viewing snapshot here. And you can see that there are some strong storms now moving closer to Corbin, moving through parts of southeast Kentucky, but not severe. The biggest concerns are these polygons, these little yellow boxes we have here. We have one over here in Madisonville and one around Tellico Plains and Etowah as far as the damaging wind. But there's also some rain in here that's moving right between 40 and 75, and that may not be of severe limits, but it's still going to cause a lot of disruption for anyone that might be out by a swimming pool or out by a lake. Because some people might be in a boat and not know. Hey, I didn't know it was going to be bad. I thought I had the all clear. Not necessarily. Let's go ahead and take a look. One more step here. I want to take a look at the future radar because this thing will change. The algorithms change and it's updated every couple of minutes. Every 5 minutes, we're getting new data with this algorithm. So let's take a look where the storms are now. Notice my banner changed. It went from radar ultimate Doppler to future radar. So we're going to go ahead and extrapolate where this is going to go. So pick out your favorite town, and this is the direction it's moving. Maybe it's off a few minutes, but this would put it in the area approaching Sneedville around 9:30, right? Because that would answer the question from Carolyn. What about Hancock County? So if it's off by 10 or 15 minutes, don't be surprised because this thing's moving a lot faster. This looks like it's now in Knoxville, not at 9, but maybe 8:30. It's been moving faster, and it's heading in the direction. But what I like about it is the fact that it shows the pieces of energy, the radar echoes, in that same configuration. And the radar returns might just be just as intense as it's been nice, warm, and humid. That's what we're seeing at this time. Let me see if I can go back, take a look at the temperatures. How warm do you think it is? Good question. I don't see much in the way of wind gust here, but the temperature is 71 right now in Knoxville, but it's 65 in Jamestown. That's rain-cooled air. Dew points are very soupy. We got a 70 mile an hour, we have a 70-degree dew point, which is very oppressive in Madisonville, in Athens, and Sevierville, and Morristown. So where you see a 70-degree dew point, these storms are going to have a little more punch, potentially. There's going to be some stronger winds and also some downpours associated with those higher dew points. Temperatures around the state, I mean, boy, they vary. We're 10 degrees cooler in Knoxville as compared to Nashville and Jackson, Tennessee. So if that gives you some idea of where things are, and of course if we go back to the radar in the clouds, you can see this storm system of how it's evolved. It's cleared out very nicely for Paducah. It's already cleared out in Jackson, Tennessee. Memphis is mostly clear, but this storm energy that's coming into town here is going to be coming in stages. There's not much back west of Crossville. I recognize that, but at this point we want to keep an eye on these storms. I'm going to go back here. And while I was on this topic, we were talking about hail. Sometimes it helps to see the visual. When we talk about hail or hail sizes, it's nice to be able to compare. And this is what we've been seeing, inch and a half. When you have, in one case, I think we had a report of hail about 0.3, about a third of an inch. That'd be between pea and a dime size. That would be non-severe in the eyes of the Weather Service. For you, it might be, that's bad. But when you're talking 1 inch, that's the size of a quarter, or an inch and a half, that's the size of a ping pong ball. You can imagine that could do some damage, and that was the concern that we could be getting in some cases, size of quarters. 1 inch hail was expected in places like McMinn County, Monroe County, and Cherokee County in North Carolina, as well as Bradley and Polk. So those were the areas that are concerning for hail, as we saw from the hail tracker just a moment ago. So that's where the radar is going in the future. Just wanted you to see that because, again, this is going to be headed in the direction of Sneedville and Morristown here probably before 9:30. The way things are tracking, it's going to slide right through Claiborne County. It's going to be on the out of Knox County before 9:30 and headed in the direction of Newport, where Wanda is. So everybody's going to get a turn. What about me? What about me? What about me? Yeah, it's coming to your turn. Everybody's going to get a turn. But when you look at this, if you're just joining me, you're like, it's not raining in Morristown. Not yet. But this would suggest before 9:30 that it could be. So let's go back to the radar. Actually, let's go back to the radar. We looked at the hail sizes. Let's go back to the present picture, as we've looked at the future here just a second ago, and then see where things are in terms of the warnings. The warned areas will last until 8:15 for Monroe County. Madisonville getting hammered with strong winds and storms now in Monroe County till 8. We've got one for Wartburg till 7:45. That's 6 minutes from now. That should expire. Heavy rain that's affecting Scott County till 8:30. And then the east side of Scott County moving into Campbell County till 8:30. So we got 8:30 here, 8:30 here. That's quite a ways to go. And that includes Knox County. Even though parts of Knox County are under severe thunderstorm warning, you wouldn't be convinced when you look at the radar. It hasn't really arrived yet, but it could be. Union County also till 8:30, which seems like it's a contradiction of terms that we have South Knoxville under a severe thunderstorm watch until 8, but we're going to keep northern Knox County under the warning till 8:30. See what I mean? There's a 30-minute disconnect here. So just be extra careful, or pack your flexibility or pack your patience while they make this adjustment. Dawn Rumsey says, good evening, David. It's been pouring down rain and thunder and rolling. Now, she's in Campbell County. Dawn, thank you for that update. Amber Stewart says, what's the goat watch forecast for today? Oh, I like the goat forecast. Amber was on last night, and I love the fact that she was talking about some areas. Wait, Knoxville circled here. But, yeah, we have a severe thunderstorm warning till 8:30 just for northern Knox. The goat forecast that might be in parts of Claiborne County or Hancock County. Amber, you'll have to remind me where you are. This will affect you in the next, I'd say, 45 minutes to an hour as it's all pushing to the east. We mentioned we have the severe thunderstorm warning here. If you're in Madisonville, it runs until 8 o'clock. If it's easier, I'll put this on full screen so you can see it a little bit easier. Till 8 o'clock for Monroe County for this box. Down toward Tellico Plains, it runs till 8:15. So a little more time. But this will be working its way into southern Blount County, most likely. So while Blount County is not under anything right now, we'll be watching that cell around Madisonville work its way toward Blount in the next few minutes. But a couple ones that will be expiring soon is this one here. This is the Morgan County. Wartburg, it looks like you've had the worst of it. You've been hammered enough. You've had your turn. As some of you are in the lather, rinse, repeat cycle, where these are the same areas. The areas in Morgan, Scott County, they got hit last night, and now they're getting hit again. And by the time the rain came into Knox County last night, I don't know if you're aware, only 0.01 inches. We had 1/100th of an inch of rain from last night. It just fizzled because it was coming in as the sun was setting. I've used the analogy of a ceiling fan.
If you have a ceiling fan, you flip a switch, that fan doesn't stop instantly. It just slows down. And when you turn off the sun, you get it to set, the sun, you lose the heat source. Some of these storms, they do lose their punch. In many cases, there are dynamics that are, these are fueled by the heating of the day. They're also fueled by other factors with the front, but this front, again, has now initiated more storms into the Campbell County area, Union County soon to be participating, as in western Claiborne County until 8:30. So 8:30 for western Claiborne County. Still watching a severe thunderstorm in Madisonville and also around Monroe County till 8:15 around Tellico Plains. But that's the situation as it stands. I got Amber, she says Hancock. Okay, I had Carolyn asking about Hancock, but I think definitely in the next 45 minutes to an hour, it'll work. Whatever's left of it, these things may expire right on time. And we'll see an expiration, I believe, of Wartburg here in just about 3 minutes. 3 minutes time. Am I right? Wartburg still, yeah, 7:45. So 7:45 for Wartburg, and this includes parts of Scott County till 7:45. But if you zoom in a little bit tighter, you can clearly see that there's two boxes that are overlaying. So you've got two warnings in the heart of Scott County, right? You got this one till 7:45, and then on the east side, south of Huntsville, 8:30. They're just tracking the same cell, which is this one. Caryville's getting hammered. That's why Don Rumsey said the thunder's pretty amazing. I'm sure it's coming down in buckets, and you've got locally heavy rain as well. This is all coming in from the west. I'm going to go back and do some checking here, see if we have any tracks. Looks like I do have one here. Turn off the lightning because it does get a little declutter or clutters the map a bit. Let's see if we have any tracks. Yep, got one that's the Madisonville. This one's probably the strongest one on the map right now. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for the Athens and Madisonville area, but when we look at some of these tracks, you can see it moves toward Bell, we'll call it Carlock at 7:54, Hambright at 7:56, a strong storm that's moving in your direction around Bullet Creek at 8:08. So this one's moving at 24 miles an hour, and there's a 70% chance that it's going to include some hail. Maybe not when it says 30% severe hail. That means the hail would have to be the size of a George Washington quarter to be considered severe. But pea-size hail certainly might be a higher probability than the large hail. But that's where things are at this moment. A couple of other notes. Don Rumsey talking about pouring down rain, thunder. We'll get through this. I'm just noting that we're about 1 minute away from one box expiring. Maybe we get a new one. Let's see what happens. I just want to see how this plays out. Because again, this one will expire here in just about 60 seconds. Tazewell, we also have Granger County. I don't want to leave you out. You're under the severe thunderstorm watch till 8. But clearly, if this thing expires at 8:30, the one that's in northern Knox County or the one that's in Union County, they may just revisit it and extend the time frame if they feel it's warranted. But at 7:45, which is now, I'm expecting this box to disappear. If it does not, it's probably just now, it's a matter of mere moments. Will this disappear? Because it's 7:45. That was when it was expected to disappear. And sometimes there might be a few seconds of a delay. Yep, look, it disappeared. How do I know? Because I can see over the last 15 minutes it just disappeared. It was there, and now it's gone. So we've just said goodbye to one warning. That means Wartburg, you're out of the woods. The worst of the Wartburg weather tonight is over for you. I wouldn't give you the all clear, but certainly there's some rain around Jamestown. Some of it may affect Morgan County. But we're now down to just 3 boxes that include more than a half a dozen counties. We've got Knox County, number 1, Union County, number 2, parts of Claiborne, that's 3, Campbell County, that's 4, Scott County, that's 5, Anderson County, that's 6. There's still a sliver, if I'm not mistaken, a sliver of Morgan County. That would be 7. Then you go down toward Madisonville. More than almost a half a dozen to a dozen severe thunderstorm warnings for different parts of the counties. Very strong storm, though, moving through Madisonville. I want to get an update from the Weather Service. That cell looks like it's pretty vigorous in the Madisonville area, right along 411. Let's zoom back in on this and see if I can get an update on the app. Very easy to do, by the way, if you're not app savvy or maybe you're an expert on apps. It's pretty easy to navigate. You could just simply tap on the exclamation mark and it will give you the text that goes with it. At 7:45, how about that? That's service, because it's now 7:46. The update for Madisonville, they said a severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 8 o'clock. Well, that's good because that's what we're zoomed in on. And this will affect southern Loudoun,
northeastern McMinn, northwestern Monroe County until 8 p.m. They're saying this is moving east at 30 miles an hour. So we've got a very unfriendly looking cell moving in the direction of Tallahassee. 30 miles an hour would put it in this direction. And you can see it includes parts of the Smokies, and it's definitely headed in the direction of southern Blount. So be on your guard. Blount County, you could be next. That's a possibility. But this moves it to the east at 30 for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. The towns that would be affected here, well, they do mention or shout out Sweetwater. It really looks like it's north of Sweetwater. Would you agree? Looking at that, I would say it's definitely north of Sweetwater. But they do say that areas like Madisonville, Von Orr, Fort Loudon State Park, McGee, Carson Peninsula, and Tellico Village are in the path of this storm. I would also say Tallahassee, if this thing holds together, because again, this is moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. So this warning lasts until 8. That's about 12 minutes from now, because it's now 7:48. 12 minutes from now, this will expire, but it could very well be extended into these other areas. Like if we were to do a box, we might be in this area, which would clearly take southern Blount and put that back on the table. Danny says, good evening, David. Stay safe. Go Vols. Hashtag GBO. And Jacob Hatfield says, I think I heard a bit of thunder. I imagine you would. And where are you, Jacob? Let me know, and I'll do my best to highlight the towns he was watching. Amber Stewart says, okay, thanks so much. I better go round them up. Yeah, the goat forecast. If you've got goats, if you got chickens, you got geese, you got I don't know. I'm thinking of all sorts of things. Any kind of wild livestock, horses, cows, deer. I don't know what you might have running through their hills, but there are storms that might be a little startling. And again, whenever you have severe thunderstorms, keep in mind your dogs or cats, if they're running, your dogs anyway, might be running outside. You might want to bring them in. If your dog is as scared as mine gets, I usually find my dog under the desk or hiding in the laundry room. That's usually where my dog likes to go. Does not like thunder, but my dog will scare the post office worker. No fear of the post office worker, but boy, the storms, suddenly it's a different animal. Kathy Self says, sprinkling east of Morristown. Thank you for that update. As we're looking now at 7:49, just now about 11 minutes away from the one that's just south of Von Orr, that could, again, produce 60-mile-an-hour winds. This is the storm. It's been really hammering 411 here around Rocky Spring. You can see Hopewell Mill. Some of these areas are getting some very strong winds, I would imagine, too. If we look at the velocity, you can see here, let's take a little check here, zoom back out. I like to take the box off because it takes a little bit more to look at. But you can see, yeah, 48-mile-an-hour winds, 44. There might have been some stronger winds back to the west, 38. So if you have 45, 50, 50-mile-an-hour winds, or even at sometimes 60, they're going to do some damage. They're going to take out trees, they'll take out power. But again, this is just a Doppler estimate, right? This doesn't mean it's actually surfacing to or reaching the surface, but the potential is for strong winds now affecting areas around Madisonville. I just want you to be prepared as this too shall pass, because the warning lasts for another 10 minutes. You've got 10 more minutes on the Monroe County warning that is Madisonville at this hour. Moving further south, which we did and will do here, this one that affects just south of Etowah and Tellico Plains. We got this one lasting until 8:15. This one's moving at 30 miles an hour. So if we haven't done a check on this one lately, which I want to do here, that's Polk. There's Monroe. This one's moving to the east at 30. And we're going to do a little track here, like so. And we'll pull this out. We have to come out here. There's 30. Right there. So that brings us to new towns like Mecca at 7:54. It would be around Coker Creek at 8:04, Tellico Plains at 8:08. So if you're in Tellico Plains, you're wondering, when's it going to get here? 8:08 is the current track. If this thing's moving and still moving at 30 miles an hour, it should be around Tellico Plains at 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. That gives you a good working time frame. Oh, Jacob Hatfield, thank you, saying New Tazewell. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, definitely have some thunder and maybe lightning headed your way. Let's go ahead and take this back off as we've now established what's down to the south. We're going to go back to the home view and see that we still have Knox County under a warned area. Haven't had much show up yet, but now in Knox County, well, I'm looking at the rain that's coming down into Farragut, right? Farragut, Hardin Valley, getting some rain now. Lenoir City's been getting all this rain that's in Farragut, Lenoir City and Friendsville. It's not severe. So, well, it scared my cat, then it's severe. that could be one definition, but the true definition from the Weather Service, by the standard that they utilize, would be 60-mile-an-hour winds. We don't have 60-mile-an-hour winds in Lenoir City. We might have 30 or 40, but the winds are picking up, no doubt, heading into Friendsville, soon to be knocking on the door in Maryville, Alcoa, and Rockford. So Maryville, Alcoa, you got some rain coming your way. It's been hitting hard the area in Lenoir City. It's been hitting hard in Farragut and picking up in Carnes, and now leaving Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge has had, in the last 15 minutes, they've had a shower move right through Oak Ridge. You can see that there, but not in a warned area. And this rain that's in Farragut is headed straight toward Knoxville proper. So this is coming into town, Cedar Bluff. It's going to affect areas around West Knox County, right into Neyland Stadium and Market Square here in the next few minutes. There's no doubt about that. And if this is moving to the east at 30 miles an hour, which we saw a moment ago, this would put it in this direction, put this town. So these towns here, even though they're not warned areas, I just took that off. That was not what I intended to do. Let's go back and just draw that again, about 30 miles an hour. This would put it in the Knoxville area, most likely here with the top of the hour. This would put it around, say, Hidden Hills at 7:55, Aldenwood Park 7:55, Galewood 7:55, and then Amherst at 7:56. So this thing's moving. It should be around Amherst in 3 more minutes. Where the rain might pick up, and certainly anyone that might be in the neighborhood pool would want to get out. But New Tazewell, I thought that was the note. Yeah, Jacob Hasfield talked about the lightning. You can see there's quite a bit of lightning now in La Follette, and some of this may not even be updating as rapidly as it could, but I do see we've got thunder on the east side of Maynardville, right? A little cell that just popped up 15 minutes ago, wasn't there? And then all of a sudden around Luttrell. Well, what do you know? Where'd that come from? Boom! Moving toward Rutledge, or at least north of 11W. There's a little cell there. That looks like it's packing quite a bit of rain and some thunder. May very well be sliding south of Tazewell here in the next few minutes. But that one's running well ahead of the rain that's in La Follette. You notice how there's a disconnect, right? The one that's in Luttrell that just fired up out of nowhere with the heating of the day, those high dew points, because I believe the dew point was around 70 in Morristown. There's a lot of rocket fuel. These storms can breathe, they can grow, and they can dump quite a bit of rain over a short period of time, no doubt. I'm going to go ahead and take the lightning off. One thing I want to check too is the velocity once again. Are we getting some strong winds here? And I would say probably yes in some spots. Caryville, 46. Potential winds there. And then some other hot spots would suggest 31 here. 53, that's strong. Where is that? That's just north of Oak Ridge. Winds that are coming into Fountain City might be on, and Carnes maybe 25, 22. Maybe not be that strong, but there are some spots that you're going to find some stronger winds potentially moving into town. Let's see here if we got hail. Yeah, a little bit of hail from that storm that pulled up near Luttrell, near Chesney. Look at that. Possible hail just around Luttrell. And that may be affecting some areas that were, I thought the line was back to the west. It is back to the west, but there are some cases where it's actually moved in to your town a little bit sooner. Let's see if I got this. Yeah, I got some reflectivity here. Check this. Powder Springs getting some heavier rain at this point. And I imagine there's quite a bit of lightning within this storm as well. Let's go back to the other radar here. And then we'll go back to the larger picture so you can get some context. But yeah, the bigger picture shows this line now. Didn't take till 9 o'clock, right? It might have even been off 30 minutes, but it's already in West Knox County before 8. So at this rate it's going at 30 or 40 miles an hour. It'll be on the doorstep of Kodak and Sevierville within the hour. It won't take long as it's now approaching Louisville. We're now getting some heavy rain in the Maryville area. And if we put back the warnings, we have a brand new warning. Look at that. Hey, I thought you said we'd get a severe thunderstorm in southern Blount. Yeah, guess what? Now you have one. Careful what you wish for. Not that you would have wished for that, but that's what I expected would happen if this storm in Madisonville maintained its integrity. And it looks like it's still holding ground. That Madisonville storm now headed in the direction of Tallahassee and now heading into southern Blount County. Northern Knox County still under a warning. I don't want to leave the Knox County out, but it's really filling in under the non-severity in towns maybe back toward Riverdale and maybe Imes Nature Center. There might be some downpours there. We've got heavy rain now around Cactus Cove, around Farragut and Boyd, around Cedar Hills, Lenoir City. Now beginning to see some breaks west of town. But the east side of Lenoir City is getting hammered. And I know that they're getting rain in Friendsville. Maybe not severe, but it's still raining like cats and dogs around Centersville and certainly Maple Spring and Burton Mill. The new warning that was issued for southwestern Blunt runs till 8:45. So how did I get on this track? Let's go back here. So the new one that's now parts of Blunt County, that includes Happy Valley. May not be happy about an 8:45 expiration, but that's 45 minutes from now. This storm is headed to the east, and this has a potential of 60-mile-an-hour winds with penny-size hail. So here, the Weather Service is making the judgment that hail might be a little bit smaller. May not be the size of a quarter, maybe the size of a penny, because the storm that's affecting Vonore is working its way east and is hammering that particular community. Vonore is such a beautiful place, surrounded by water. I'm not telling anything anybody doesn't already know, but I think Vonore is a beautiful town, as I've done spotlights on quite a few cities here in the last 12 months or so. But notice Riverside, Madisonville, Belltown getting hit with this severe thunderstorm warning. This runs till 8:45. Happy Valley, you're under the crosshairs and may have a severe storm. Doesn't affect Maryville per se. Notice where they drew the box. It's shy of the airport and it's shy of Alcoa, but it does affect Chehowee View and Blockhouse. They're technically under the warned area that goes until 8:45, whereas Maryville proper is not. So if that gives you some context, you are not under the warning if you're in Maryville, but you are if you're in Blockhouse. That's the way they drew the map. It is what it is, but that's how they see it at the present time. Some very heavy rain. I want to just do a quick check as we kind of recapture where things are, maybe take stock here at the top of the hour. We're about to hit 8 o'clock. We have a warning that runs till 8:30 that affects Clinton, Anderson County, Campbell County till 8:30, Maynardville, Union County till 8:30, as well as western Claiborne County till 8:30. 8:30 is a common time now because this one's going to go to 8:45, but the Vonore one may expire a bit sooner. Part of the Madisonville certainly should be done here in 2 minutes. So Madisonville, you may actually see this expire. Tellico Plains, you'll have this till 8:15. Looks like this storm 15 minutes ago was here, but now it's drifting mainly south of Tellico Plains. The heavier storm may very well move just south of Tellico Plains. Michelle Johnson says Friendsville and the Greenback area is here. Thunder, light rain, but for my wind chimes, they aren't moving so much. Wind chimes, yeah, that's a good measure, because I will tell you what, if you're in the thick of it, those wind chimes would make quite a bit of noise. James says, is Morristown going to get the storm? You will likely get something, James, but keep in mind, it's not a coincidence that these storms could weaken as we get past 8:41. That's when the sun sets tonight. And just like last night, a lot of them started to wane, they started to weaken. So you might get just the leftovers, right? Morristown, Hamilton County may just get the scrappy leftovers from these storms because the heat source will be lost after 8:41 when the sun goes down. And even though it may not be down technically now, the sun's at a lower angle now. So these storms may in fact be weakening and you just don't really recognize it yet. Maybe we'll see that evidence here in a moment. But I can tell you at 8 o'clock, which I believe it is now, straight up, this one is expected to expire. Look at the Madisonville one. I think, oh, look, it just disappeared. So Madisonville, and you can see, I'll circle this area right here. They were under the warning just a minute ago, right? So as you can see it there, and then they pulled the plug. So that area is no longer a warned area. So that one have now been translated to move eastward in the direction of Happy Valley and Tallahassee. Got the nasty storm right now. We got a downpour in Tellico Plains, but this is the one that I'm more concerned about right in here. That's affecting areas just south of Bullet Creek. Coker Creek needs to be aware that they've got a strong storm headed their way, and this lasts until 8:15. So another 15 more minutes for this storm, and then it will be reassessed, I'm sure, by the Weather Service. Go back to the home view. We'll clear off my telestrator. But this is the area that's fun, kind of peculiar, right? We have had a severe thunderstorm watch that was to go until 8 o'clock, and I notice it's 8 o'clock now, 8:01. And what do you know? Isn't that interesting? They decided to pull the plug on the 8 and change it to a 10. How do they do that? Well, that's like, in football, it's like calling an audible, right? The National Weather Service and their friends at the Storm Prediction Center, because they work in conjunction, they issue these watches, which means conditions are favorable. It's like having a preheated oven. Doesn't mean you're going to get severe weather, but the potential for this watch was to go to 8. And we were talking about there was a disconnect because we have a severe thunderstorm warning that lasts till 8:30. How could you have a severe thunderstorm warning till 8:30, but the watch, South and Knoxville proper, went to 8? Well, there's the answer. They have made the adjustment, and they've extended the watch by 2 hours to 10 o'clock. So clearly, either these storms did not meet or match the time expectation, but the point is they do have a severe thunderstorm watch now till 10. And they did pull the plug on Crossville. So I want to thank all those who were watching in Crossville. I did drop this live stream there because I was concerned. I went on live because of the tornado warning that was affecting you more than an hour ago. In fact, let's go back 2 hours. You can see how this storm just hit Crossville right around 6, I'm using Eastern time, but around 6:30, about 5:30 Central time. You had a tornado warning, and now it's moved this far in just that short period of time. So this is a 2-hour lapse of time. It stops here at 8:02, so this was 6:02 Eastern, 5:02 Central. We had a tornado warning move through Crossville, and then there could be some damage. But it was interesting. I didn't see any wind. I didn't see any power outages. But sometimes that takes a little bit, in some cases, a little bit of time to process. Now, do we have any power outages now? We sure do. Isn't that interesting? Didn't Crossville, didn't Cumberland County have a tornado warning? They did. And now all of a sudden they have power outages in Fentress of 400, Crossville of 100. That's maybe that's a blessing in disguise. It's not into the thousands. It's not in the thousands, but it's 100 and 400 so far. So the power outages have had an impact on some communities in the plateau over the last 2 hours, no doubt. Back to the radar, back to the warnings, back to the home view. You can see that we have a couple of boxes. Some of them will be expiring here in about 12 minutes because at 8:15, the one to the far south in southern Monroe County, I should say, will expire and maybe moving into the mountains of North Carolina thereafter. This one, last check, I believe was moving at 30. Most of them are moving at 30 miles an hour. The one that's in southwestern Blunt, yes, is moving at 30. So if you have a track here, like so, moving at 30, that would put you here, heading in the direction, let's move this to the side and move this over here. This is heading toward the tail of the dragon at 8:06. Should be around 6 Mile, it's 8:11. Southview Estates, 8:13. Sunshine, may not give you sunshine at 8:32 because the storm's headed your way. Townsend, 8:34. Now, everybody who's familiar with Townsend, beautiful town, and if you've got plans on an evening on a Thursday night, you may not be expecting rain at all, but it's headed in your direction, I can assure you, and you might want to make sure that you are alert because you could be the recipient of the next future severe thunderstorm warning. Right now, Townsend's not listed there. You're not highlighted there, but that seemingly is the direction that that storm is moving. Now, if we move this up to further up the interstate, the one that's in Union County, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning that's moving at 40. In fact, we just got an update at 7:55. So let's turn this off, and we're going to take a look at the track of this storm. They're moving this at, say, 40 miles an hour for penny-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and that's this little storm right in here. So this is moving now at 40, and that would put it well into Claiborne County. So we're now looking at Morristown, too. So this is the track and the speed, and it would affect areas around Mapleview at 8:07, Mayview Heights, 8:07, Timberline Estates, 8:08. These are subdivisions. These are neighborhoods. These are communities. These aren't all cities. This is not only local, but hyper-local. Glenwood, 8:08. Sumter Hills, 8:09. And if you're in Dry Gap, it may not be dry at Dry Gap at 8:09. You've got the potential for a severe thunderstorm that could produce 60-mile-an-hour winds. So just again, expect damage to roofs, potentially. Expect damage to siding, possibly. And expect damage to trees. So this would affect, in some cases, could affect areas around La Follette, Maynardville, could affect areas around Oliver Springs, but really Jacksboro, Jellicoe, and Kerrville, we've already seen some of that damage already from this particular storm. And when you dissect this particular box, which we can do, it's affecting Mascot right now. Mascot's getting hit with a heavy rain shower and thunderstorm, but you have one box here, you have one band of storms here. You got another one back here that's approaching Norris and will be soon affecting Clinton. But the worst of it seems like it's past Kerrville. If Dawn Rumsey is still on the call, you'll have to let me know, but it's raining in Oneida. This is not severe over here, but the box clearly by far and away does include northern Knox County till 8:30. So that would be at the bottom of the hour. Probably going to go till 8:30 and then sign off, because if this thing is going to happen like I suspect it will, this thing will weaken as we get closer to sunset. That's at 8:41 tonight. So a lot of the heavy rain that's affecting Knoxville. Let's go town to town. If you got a town and you're just joining us, let me know what you're seeing. I'll do my best to give you a shout out. In fact, I'm looking at my browser here on my other computer so I can check the comments, but I do see some heavy rain now leaving Hardin Valley. It's leaving Farragut and now moving toward Louisville. It's moving towards Cedar Bluff and certainly downtown, so anywhere from Lonsdale to Bearden, heavy rain, pockets of heavy rain for South Knoxville, seeing it now approach Timberlake and Beechwood for sure. Kelly Hart says, we're in our safe place. Thank you, Davis. She mentioned that an hour ago. Thank you for those comments. I'm just looking at this now. Let me go back to the all comments and see what's coming in real time. But what's most important is that when you have these severe thunderstorm warnings, that you get the kids out of the pool. Pull in if you're cooking food out on the grill. This is going to include quite a bit of thunder and lightning, and there could be obviously some serious disruptions there. But Arrowhead, Lakemont getting some heavy rain. Knoxville proper, just to be clear, is not under a severe thunderstorm warning. We have some heavy rain. It's in the forecast. It's in the forecast for South Knoxville. But the way the Weather Service drew this, areas from Powell to Fountain City South, like Inskip, not in the warned area. But if you're in Fieldview, if you're in high school, or in Clinton, you are. So that's where the distinction is. Mascot is, but Carter is not. I know it seems a bit bizarre, but arbitrarily they had to draw this box somewhere, and that just happens to be where they drew it. It affects areas, as you can see. South Knoxville, not included in the warning, but areas around Speedwell should be on guard, as is Sharps Chapel. Sharps Chapel is about to get another rain shower, downpour, that you may not have had maybe even yesterday. Some of you had really hard hit. But this is the rain over the last 15 minutes. I can see that little cell that developed around Luttrell kind of fell apart as it moved toward Rutledge. It's being fed or fueled maybe by the storm in Mascot. You've got Briceville on the chopping block for some heavy rain right now. It's headed toward Norris. It's leaving Duff. It's leaving McLeod Mountain and heading towards Speedwell and Sharps Chapel. This is a 15-minute time lapse of where it's been and where it is right now. So it's now affecting areas just north of Paulette. It's affecting areas, the city of Knoxville. I mean, don't want to dismiss, even though the city of Knoxville is not in the warned area, there may be stronger winds in the areas that are actually under the warning. Let's see what we can find here. I'll turn off this particular area. But we have another 20 minutes. Looks like 20 minutes left. You can clearly see from the colors. The bright green would be the stronger winds, right? We got winds that are 47, got 49, but you go to Knoxville, it's 16. So there's a difference between rain that's coming down heavy with 16-mile-an-hour wind gusts and heavy rain where they're coming gusts of 45, 49, 47. So you got stronger storms in the La Follette area, and certainly it's well in excess of 25, 38 in parts of Monroe County. So the winds are certainly a factor. There's 48 south of Loudon. Doesn't mean it's translating in that, but that's where the heavier, stronger winds, I should say, are present. There's 47 there, maybe 39 in Scott County. So our wind concerns are most prevalent where we have the warned areas, and then the radar on top of it hopefully explains a little bit more. A couple of notes from Misty. Misty says, what about the Asheville Highway? Good question. We'll zoom in on that, Misty. Thank you. Keep me accountable. I'll get there. Kenneth and Carolyn Humphrey says La Follette, Fincastle, severe lightning, heavy rain. Oh, I love this weather report. Moderate winds with a barometric pressure of 30.11 inches and falling, I imagine. Temperature 69 at 8:06. Thank you, Kenneth and Caroline. That best note I've had all day as far as the specificity of the weather report. Thank you for that. Friendsville, Greenback. Michelle was mentioning that. That was 15 minutes ago. But Asheville Highway. Let's zoom in on Asheville Highway. Let's get really into the heart of Knox County. Rocky Hill, Foxfire, areas down toward, zoom in right in here. There's Chapman Highway and Alcoa Highway. So you've got some downpours that are in red that are affecting Marble City, Mechanicsville. We've got some downpours around Cherokee Boulevard, Alcoa Highway, Chapman Highway. And as far as what's going on back to the west, you can see back here, I'm looking at Ramsey now beginning to fill in, Riverside, Magnolia Avenue, downpours here. I'm just kind of following the red areas, but certainly heavy rain now affecting Mechanicsville, downtown Knoxville. There's Neyland Stadium, if you're looking for that. Market Square likely to getting pounded with some heavy rain, so anyone who is on Gay Street that's working around, maybe enjoying the great outdoors, suddenly wants to be indoors, taking cover. Western Avenue also getting some heavy rain off here. This is on the left side of the screen, but this just gives you a sample of what's going on in town. I'm looking at some of these other towns here, but on 129 toward the Airport Highway, top side, Arrowhead, Mockingbird Hill, Rocky Hill, North Shore Drive now getting some very heavy rain. as we're looking around toward Alcoa Highway, Lakemont. So hopefully you'll understand that this is all working itself from west to east. Hardin Valley seeing some improvement, technically under severe thunderstorm watch till 10. They think something new could form, clearly, but they did remove Crossville and Jamestown. So Cumberland and Fentress County no longer under any watch. But for whatever reason, they've kept Wartburg and Morgan County until 10 o'clock. So again, I don't want to say all is clear in Wartburg, but at least there's nothing impending. There's still some activity that would appear north of you that might try and work its way down. And there's a flash flood warning up here, I believe now, flash flood warning for Pickett County, Tennessee. So think about this. The storms that are around Pickett County, if they worked its way into Scott and Morgan County, it would do so before 10 p.m. That seems to be the gist or the trend at this time. Let me go back to the home view. I don't know if I answered everybody's question on that, but we do have a new warning. Looks like that's now affecting Cherokee County in North Carolina. Yes, the Weather Service in Nashville, the Weather Service in Morristown does govern Cherokee County, North Carolina. Even though the TV markets don't spend a whole lot of time on North Carolina counties, the Weather Service does cover some of these counties. So that's why you're seeing severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee, and they do include the Chattanooga area as well. But that seemingly is not the biggest issue. Right now it's Southern Blunt till 8:45. Tellico Plains, they have a severe thunderstorm warning, I believe, until 8:15. That'll expire in 2 minutes. So if you're in Tellico Plains, you're almost out of the woods, so to speak. But there's a strong cell south of Tellico Plains that will be moving in the direction of potentially Robbinsville. If I'm not mistaken, that's the direction this storm is headed. It might be headed more toward Andrews than it is Robbinsville as it's drifting further south. Back to the home view. It's now 8:13. We've looked at some of these downpours, I should say. We've got a little storm that just really popped up over here toward Walnut Grove. Did you know where that was? Milliken Grove. This wasn't there just a few minutes ago, as evidence from the 15-minute time lapse. Between Walnut Grove and Milliken Grove, just north of Harrisburg, we've had a little downpour and some heavy rain just flare up, and it's not a part of the main line, but it is going to affect some of you in Sevier County. Seymour now getting in on the rain, as is Kodak. Would appear that we're getting some heavier rains now toward Melrose and Wallen. Wallen getting some heavy rain, not severe, but the worst of the weather right now is around Howard, Tallahassee, and I dare say around Tariffville. Some of the heavy rains have come in here in the last 15 minutes, producing potentially 60-mile-an-hour wind speeds that would have caused potentially some downed trees or power outages. Just checking back at the look at the big picture. This too shall pass. I'm going to sign off here in about 15 minutes. I think we'll get the gist of this, or the trend of this. Again, once we get to 8:41, the official light switch of the sunset will be down, and a lot of these storms will likely weaken quite a bit. As I said, the rain that's coming into Knoxville proper is not labeled severe. It may be disruptive, it may be strong, but the winds are not as strong here as they are perhaps further north. And we've seen that time and time again when we've looked at the winds. The winds here around the Knoxville area might be even less than 10 miles an hour. There's 23. Oak Ridge has had stronger winds, right? But if you're up toward Norris, they're closer to 27. So there's stronger winds, no doubt, further north. Even towards Sharps Chapel, it would appear that some of these winds are now approaching 47. Duff, on a hilltop, I'm sure is exceeding 36. And maybe some gusts of wind near Oneida that are closer to 20, 21. Briceville, 38 miles an hour. So the winds are stronger between Duff, Sharps Chapel, and Caryville than they are in the Knoxville, Fountain City area, where they might just be 21. Does that make sense? Just again, we're looking at just the wind factor alone, as there are other weather hazards besides just the rain, the lightning. You've got all that kind of combined in this situation. Bigger picture again, now 8:15. We saw an expiration of the one that was in Madisonville. Looks like Madisonville now is in the clear. You're no longer in the warning. Kincaid is still there. Von Orr is still under the warning till 8:45, but at least the good news is Madisonville did see some improvement. And I'll go for another 14 minutes just to get this carried through. I see Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, you're next in line to get some rain. Misty was asking about Asheville Highway. We did our best to highlight some other towns. James Pruitt wondering about Morristown. It's eventually going to get to you, sir, so bear with us. And then I got Kay Fowler, said she just heard some thunder and thought I should check in. Thank you for being here, says Keith Fowler, out there in Jefferson City. Always a pleasure to see Keith. And Stephen Snyder, thank you so much for your kindness, sending me some pseudo stars. But in YouTube, I guess it's just dollars and cents. But thank you, sir, for that very kind offer. Notice the ultimate Doppler radar showing the rain in Knoxville right now. If we put some thunder and lightning, I wonder if we're getting some new updates. Got about 100 and, actually, if we go to home view, got over 1,000. 1,000 lightning strikes, 1,500, just on this image in the last 30 minutes or so. Some of the yellow strikes might be a little older, or excuse me, it might be more newer, and the older ones might be bright. But this is all coming to the east and heading toward the direction of Morristown, which was really what James Pruitt was wanting to know, will we get the storm? You'll get some rain, but it may not be clearly as strong or as dynamic as it was when it was over Cumberland County or Fentress County or even Scott and Morgan County. It was much stronger there. Just to give you an update, for the ones that are technically in southern Monroe, that will run till 8:45. We got one that's in southern Blount till 8:45. We got one that's in Monroe County till 8:45. The 8:45 seems to be common. The 8:30, this one will go away in northern Knox County. It's hard to justify at this point, but I do see why they have this under the warned area. If you see the storm around Norris and Clinton, and we've seen and adjusted some of the winds here are over 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, that could translate down north of Fountain City here in the next few minutes. So we've got until 8:30 for the one that's in Maynardville. The one that's in western Claiborne County, that runs until 8:30. And once that hits, that should be the last of it, at least at this particular time here. Let me go back to, the time frame for western Claiborne is 8:30. But we've got some very heavy rain in this box associated with that. Let me go ahead and clear this off here. And when we talk about Sharps Chapel, Speedwell, you're getting some downpours, as is White Hollow. Braden, also getting some steady rain around Speedwell. Powell Valley might be affected here in the next few minutes. If you can see the last few minutes where it's headed. Yeah, it's definitely headed in the direction of Collins Mill and Powell Valley. Some heavier rains. It might make its way to Arthur and could reach to Harrogate. Someone was asking me about Harrogate a little while ago. So the Speedwell rain is the rain to watch, as it's likely headed in this direction. That's where it's headed at the moment, in this direction. So I would put Arthur, I'd put Harrogate in the next 30 minutes. This is all headed in your direction. Not necessarily going to be of the same intensity, but that's seemingly where it is at the moment. Go back to the lamps here. Laps, I should say. But Maynardville, Lake Skillet getting some moderate rain. But boy, I tell you what, it intensifies around Gooseneck. Gooseneck may be getting some hail at this moment. Let's just double check to see if we have any hail possibly. Yeah, there's some hail around Norris. There's potentially some hail around Gooseneck, and the size of it may be a half inch. Yeah, half inch around Gooseneck and Norris. If you've got hail in your county or if you're in town, let us know. Share it with me on the comments section. Love to see that. But certainly a very active pattern with the winds. Also some hail potentially around Clinton. If I have that correct, yeah, it looks like Clinton's also getting potentially some hail at the moment. Probably the same size, about half inch there. Yep, and that would be, again, not as large, maybe the size of a pea, pea size or dime size hail potentially, but really not the biggest story. The biggest story now is just watching these storms decay and letting this run the clock. We're running out the clock. It's now 8:20. This big old box from Speedwell to Mascot to Clinton to Norris will expire at 8:30. You'll notice Oak Ridge is getting rain, but Oak Ridge is not technically under the warning, and neither really is Oliver Springs, but areas around Clinton would be included. And I think this was a judgment call because of the winds. Windrock is beginning to see things improve. Clearly it's improving right now in Frost, even though they're in the warning, but this is the area that's getting the heavy rain at the moment, but may not be classified truly by severe standards, but we could say it's a strong storm, right? We have a strong storm around Oak Ridge, and we have a very strong storm that's moving through Knoxville proper. So from Park City to Chehaui Hills to South Knoxville and Meads Quarry, we've got a very strong thunderstorm now affecting the city right in here. Are we getting any hail in this particular area? We can check, we can double check and triple check. Yeah, we got a little bit of hail here as well. So we'll turn off the telestrator and do a check. I'd say this is Knoxville, probably close to a half inch, potentially. Radar is not going to, I'm not going to buy a hook, line, and sinker that's verified, but if I had a weather spotter to say, yeah, I've had some, that might certainly help out. Kenneth and Carolyn Humphrey said at 8:19 it's beginning to clear out. The storm has moved on. Well, that's good news there. and that was lives in Fincastle. So thank you very much. Just right below McLeod Mountain Tower Camp. Love that. Thank you for that ultra specific report, because everybody has a different experience with this type of weather, and it will be that way going into the holiday weekend, I'm sure. While we're getting all this rain now into Holston Hills and back toward Lakemont, Rockford, it's now spreading into Sevier County, right? We have now just southwest of, say, Pine Grove. It's beginning to fill in at Walden's Creek. We got rain around Doyle Springs, around Prospect, and now approaching Sevierville as well. Boyd's Creek Midway now getting some heavy rain around Seven Islands. It's raining around Smoky Stadium at this hour, and just north of Kodak, especially around 4 Points and Hickory, where the rain is really coming down in buckets around 11E. So if you're in 11E, your rain's picked up pretty strongly in the last 15 minutes. In fact, you can see how this was just different. It wasn't even there 15 minutes ago, and now it's making a beeline toward Newmarket. If you're in Newmarket and you're in Jefferson City, watch out. Here comes some rain with some thunder. May not be severe, but we'll just call it what it is. It's a strong thunderstorm. A strong thunderstorm along 11E. Newmarket's next. Jefferson City probably thereafter. So be on the lookout for that, as we'll be keeping an eye on some of these other communities as this all begins to move into town. All right, 8:23. I'm going to finish up in about 7 minutes, because I want to say that we've got most of these warnings off the map. I do want to visit the Tallahassee one, Happy Valley. This storm is coming down in buckets. We've got some heavy rain along the tail of the dragon. Where's the tail? Oh, it's over here. Where's the head of the dragon? Well, I'll let you decide. We get Tallahassee and Happy Valley over here. Heavy rain around Chehaui along 129. This is the area that this warning runs until 8:45. So Blount County, I want to see if there's any updates from our friends at the Weather Service. Their latest report and their latest update is as follows. They did say that places like southeastern Loudoun, southwestern Blount, and central Monroe would last till 8:45, and it was moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. So if that's still the case, and we can assume it is, we got a little track from Barron, and I got towns like the Tail of the Dragon 8:39, Deals Gap 8:42, and the heart of that storm could be over Fairfax at 8:52. So that's still some time away. Fairfax crosses over the state line, but Calderwood at 8:23, that's in Tennessee, and it's really affecting you now. So that has the potential of 90% chance of hail and just a 30% chance it's the size of a George Washington quarter. This storm is moving east at 26, it would appear, and it's affecting areas, like I said, around Calderwood right now, but not likely tornadic. This is just potentially some strong winds of 60 miles an hour or less. If I turn this off, you can see as we look at the warnings, take them off. Let's take this off here. That's what I wanted. It's just to do a quick overview of some of the stronger winds. Happy Valley's got maybe stronger winds than that. 30. See, there's maybe some strong winds. 30. It might be weakening a bit. The rain may be intense, but the winds are not all that impressive at this point. There's some 20s and 30s, so we'll be keeping an eye on that as that runs until 8:45 as far as the warning, and we'll just clear off the decibels there. Severe thunderstorm warning until 8:45. Back to the home view we go, and we have now 5 more minutes on the one that's affecting northern Knox County. And you tell me, you be the judge. The one that's affecting Clinton could very well be extending. Next 15 minutes, let's go back 30. 30 minutes time, there was still a warning in parts of northern Knox County, just north of Fountain City. But there hasn't been a whole lot of storminess in this particular area as of yet. But the storms that's in Clinton, in Norris, as the sun's getting lower in the sky, again, the sun's going to be setting in about 15, 16 minutes, right? It sets at 8:41. So the sun will be officially down at that hour, and once you pull the heat source, like I said, you'll be amazed how quickly these storms start to slow down and maybe just take off some of the edge from the storms. Doesn't mean you won't get the rain in Morristown. I think you will, but it may not be quite the same storm as it was for Clinton or even Maynardville. It's 8:26. Got other notes. Jacob Hasfield says New Tazewell is starting to get hammered. Well, let's go to New Tazewell. I can see because you were technically under a warning, were you not? No, Tazewell was not. New Tazewell was not, but certainly Powell Valley, certainly under a warning until 8:30. There's parts of western Claiborne County, for sure, still under a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's still on the table. It's left the Speedwell area in the last 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it came through Speedwell. This is definitely weakening. Just from the coloring of the reflectivity, I can see Speedwell was suddenly red, and now it's turning more yellow. By the time it does get to New Tazewell and Tazewell proper, the rain might be even less. So I'm more optimistic by the passing minute. I won't even say by the passing hour. I'm more optimistic that this will likely expire, this particular warning, at 8:30, which is in just a few minutes from now. It's in 3 minutes from now. A lot of these boxes are going to disappear, and I will sign off likely at 8:30. But I just want everybody to know, if you're in Morristown, how about Dandridge? We haven't talked about Dandridge. Bainbury, where did this storm come? Newport, wait a minute. How did you get some storms? We've got one over here, a strong storm. Got one over here, there's Newport, and one near Sandy Ridge. Bird Crosswood. This wasn't there 15 minutes ago. Or was it? Let's take a look. Where was this 15? It wasn't there. And all of a sudden, kaboom. 15 minutes ago, there was nothing in Newport. I don't know if you're in Newport, but there was nothing there 15 minutes ago. And now all of a sudden it's raining. And it's running well ahead of the storm. And what about White Pine? Marilyn Bell, if you're out there, are you getting some rain in White Pine? I imagine you are. But New Tazewell is getting into the act. Diane Ladyhawk says East Maryville here. Boomers are loud and clear in Maryville. Thank you for that. So running ahead of the schedule, always having to be different. These little storms have now formed. And one now south of Belmont, right here, Reedtown. So we've got 4 little storms that are now running south of Witt, south of Morristown. And they're going to maybe pack some locally heavy rain. And maybe, again, strong storm, not severe. Strong we can categorize as a wind gust of 35. Maybe 45, possibly 55, but I would suspect 35 to 45 might be the top speed for some of the storms that are and were just circled. But clearly, we're now 2 minutes away. That's it, 2 minutes away from this large box north of Fountain City to go bye-bye. So this little box, I suspect, and obviously Caryville's seen some improvement. It's still raining hard in Clinton, and that's not to say it'll stop raining in 2 minutes, but it's likely to be maybe just a strong storm. Strong storm now filling the gap here between Maynardville and Norris. We got a strong storm now moving through South Knoxville and now through Maryville. Look at this is the Maryville storm that Diane Ladyhawk said she was talking about, right? Not necessarily severe, but boy, is it coming down in buckets, and I imagine there could be some hail. I see some purple reflectivity here. Let's take a look at the hail. Maybe we're getting some hail. Oh, yeah. Maybe at least the potential is there, right? You got the potential around Blockhouse for half-inch hail, maybe around Lowell Chapel. There's Maryville. Maryville's right over here. Alcoa's to the north. So it's not necessarily hailing in Maryville, but it could have affected areas. If the last 15 minutes, let's see where it's been. Yeah, it's been a hail. Maybe some came through the last 15 minutes. But the severe threat there would suggest that there is that potential. Maybe penny-size hail, maybe pea-size in some spots. Just checking the clock. It is now 8:29. We're about to say goodbye or get stock, a new update, as the heavier rains are now going to be disappearing. Certainly have moved out of Scott County. I want to give a congratulations. You made it, Oneida and Huntsville. You've been hit pretty hard, but there's still some storms north and west of you that might be trying to work their way down. Look at the ones north and west of Jamestown. Right? There's a parade that might be why they decided to keep this area here. They're keeping Sunbright and Wartburg in the severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock tonight. That's why, because there's a little bit of energy that's still up to the northwest. But again, once the sun sets, I think that too may be overkill. But again, it's better to be safe than sorry. Now the watch severe thunderstorm warning just disappeared, right? Clearly, 8:30, there's no more need for a severe thunderstorm warning in La Follette, in Campbell County, in Union County, or even Claiborne County. So everything on the board would be representing a strong thunderstorm or just a thunderstorm. Doesn't have to be strong, but some of them are on the stronger side. And we have one severe thunderstorm warning that lasts for southern Blount right until 8:45. So that's what I want to let you know. That will be heading into the mountains of North Carolina as it stretches across the tail of the dragon. Just want to thank you all for your time. Just want to remind you I couldn't do this without my sponsor. We talked about the hail, but also wanted to thank you for our friends at Marco's Pizza. If you have need of a comfort food for a time when storms come through, check out Hardin Valley Farragut, Maryville, Fountain City, Halls, Oak Ridge, Middlebrook Pike, and Ebenezer Road. Now under new ownership, new leadership, better than ever. Marco's Pizza, a corporate sponsor of No Kid Hungry. They give a lot back to the community. I can attest to that. Pepperoni Magnifico is a great snack if they're feeding a family or maybe hanging out by the pool, and maybe for lunch tomorrow you'd like to try a Pozzoli. You're like, what's a Pozzoli? Well, it's better than a calzone in my view. I love the pepperoni sausage, but there's other types. Buffalo chicken, chicken bacon ranch, and you get the side along with it. It's very filling. It's a great lunch plan if you want to think about lunch. But again, thank you so much for your time. My sponsor for the Ultimate Doppler Radar is Marco's Pizza. I'm thankful for them that they were able to give me the funding and the sponsorship for this particular live stream. You can see we're both on YouTube and Facebook. Any other comments that you have, let me know. I'm going to sign things off, but I want to thank you for not only your time, but also your attention. Because again, sometimes it just helps to know, is this going to get worse? In most cases, it's going to get better because the sun sets now in about 9 minutes. So it'll go down at 8:41. The sun is setting at 8:41. It's currently 8:32. So a lot of the showers, as it moves into Sevierville, moves into Morristown, you're just getting the scrappy leftovers. And you're probably okay with that. It means some rain, but it doesn't mean damaging wind for Morristown. That's a real benefit if you ask me. Well, anyway, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. So thankful. It's not easy being accurate. I think we can all agree. We'll see you here next time, and enjoy the evening as best you can. Take care.